because it happens to be the birthday of Sir Isaac Newton. So he was born on 4th January 1643 and considered to be one of the greatest scientists of all time. So it is very fortunate that we are having this particular seminar on his birthday. As you know, we have been conducting these seminars for over 2 years on a variety of topics with the intention of informing our members about various developments, so that they can progress forward. They can study in more detail about whatever topic they have in mind. Also, one of our intention is to connect with all the faculty members and students in our region. In fact, the whole of Karnataka. So we want to bring in some kind of a union or association of all faculty members so that we can interact on a variety of topics. So we have been helped in this venture as faculty members from colleges, universities, and research institutes. We are very grateful to them. So today we have a distinguished speaker who is none other than our General Secretary, Professor P. Nagaraju. So he is going to tell us about his experiences with the International Conference on Physics Education, which was held at IIT Roper after a gap of 20 years. The previous one was held in 2000. And in fact, some of us attended that. And many of us could not attend this particular conference because of distance and various other factors. So we are very keen to listen to him about the proceedings of that particular conference and learn from whatever his experiences. So before I request him to speak about his experiences, I request our Joint Secretary, Professor Rudraswamy, to introduce the speaker. Because many of you will know about him, but let him formally introduce the speaker. Over to you, Professor Rudraswamy.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much, sir, for extending this great opportunity. It is indeed a great honor and immense pleasure for me to introduce Professor Nagaraju, an eminent academician and speaker of today's online talk. Professor P. Nagaraju obtained his PhD degree in 1993 from Bengaluru University. Served as Professor of Physics in various academic institutions such as JSS College, Mysuru, Sri Satya Sai College, Vijaya College, GVS College, Indian Academy Degree College, and National College, all in Bangalore, with a total teaching experience of 46 years and research experience of 33 years. Served as executive member of various academic bodies such as Indian Physics Association, Physics Teachers Forum, Indian Physics Teachers Association, Karnataka Rajya Vijnana Parishad, Karnataka Association for Advancement of Science, and University College Development Council, all in Bangalore. Presently serving as a General Secretary of Karnataka Physics Association, author of textbooks of Karnataka PUC and CET, served as member of High School Textbooks of Government of Karnataka, visited countries such as Italy, Germany, and Switzerland on academic work, delivered innovative talks in national international conferences, published many research papers in international journals, and served as a reviewer for the International Journal of America, presently serving as a resource person of IASA at Chellakare Center. With this brief introduction, may I now request Professor P. Nagaraju kindly to deliver an important online talk on the topic ICPE 2025, My Experience. Over you to sir, and thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your nice introduction. Right now, I am not going to IISc campus. In fact, I have served IISc campus Chellakere for almost 4 to 5 years. Anyway, thank you for the nice introduction. And I should thank Professor Cogley because he told me to introduce whatever experience I gained in ICPE 2025 at Roper. So I should thank him, and I should thank all the members, of course, to giving me an opportunity to talk to you. Yes, ICPE 2025, that was taken place from December 16 to 20. And ICPE, that is International Conference on Physics Education, is a flagship conference of International Commission on Physics Education, ICPE. That is also called ICPE, that is International Commission on Physics Education, C14 of IUPAP. They normally call it as IUPAP, International Union of Pure and Applied Physics. Of course, this IUPAP, IUPAP has organized that in IIT Roopnagar. And the theme of this conference, physics education, preparing for the future in the age of virtual labs, AI, that is artificial intelligence, and quantum technology. Of course, IIT Ropar was the host institution, Isar Mohali and IAPT were the guests. Apart from this, there were several sponsors. I'm not going to tell them who are all the sponsors. But anyway, ICPE as an international gathering of physics educators, physics education researchers, physics teachers, and students at all levels. As a leading STEM means science, technology, engineering, and mathematics discipline. Physics has excelled globally in research pertaining to subject specific education. Of course, the themes and the broad themes of the conference. First one is advancement in physics education research. Under that, the sub-themes are STEM, like I told you already, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, and physics education synergies and challenges. The other one is impact on large-scale policy on physics education, undergraduate and postgraduate physics. Especially under the undergraduate physics, we have active learning to problem solving. Under the postgraduate physics, rigor in standard topic to specialization for emerging fields. And of course, physics teacher education. That is almost a main theme in that. Designing physics curriculum and assessment at school, colleges, and universities. Under the next one, women in physics, role of women in physics teaching and learning in school, colleges, universities, and even in research. And again at the higher educational institutions, in addition to research organizations. That is how women in physics. Coming to the third one, physics enabled virtual adaptability in education. Hands-on real-time laboratories, virtual labs, labs to simulation, and then tutorials and recitation sessions, flipped teaching and learning. Coming to the fourth theme, quantum technologies and physics education. Under this, celebrating the International Year of Quantum Science and Technologies, and then artificial intelligence in physics education, then workforce creation. And the last one, that is the fifth one, is physics outreach. According to this, access to physics education for the majority and minority reaching the unreached, physics outreach in India, and physics for climate change. Of course, I will tell you about a brief history about that in the end. And thus, ICPE 2025 focuses on a wide range of themes, including the integration of AI in physics, teaching, and quantum-based learning. So coming to this, a number of international participants attended and took part actively in the conference, like what I have noticed. The delegates from leading institutions such as the University of Sydney, University of Washington, University of Pittsburgh, Kansas State University, Ohio State University, University of Oregon, Chiang Mai University, University of Lichbajana, Uppsala University of Udine, and CERN. CERN, you know that, in fact, on December 14th, Pushpalata Bhatt gave a talk on CERN also, especially the discovery of Higgs boson. That is European Center for Nuclear Research. That is CERN expansion. Prominent international speakers include Professor Paula Hiron, University of Washington, Professor Chandralekha Singh, originally from India, and right now she is in University of Pittsburgh. Professor Dean Zolman, Kansas State University. In fact, Professor Dean Zolman was available even in 2005 at the Delhi ICPE conference. The same person, of course, it is very happy to say that he is 84, but still he gave a talk on physics education. Professor Marisa Michelini, University of Dine, Professor Geraldine L. Koshran, Ohio State University, Felitic Serget, University of Lijuban and Slovenia, Professor Manjula Sharma, University of Sydney. And Professor Manjula Sharma is the chair of ICPE, that is International Conference on Physics Education. And of course, Manjula has participated in many parts of the conference. I just tell you in brief when we come back to that. Coming to the structure of the conference, of course, all of us have to remember how they have planned, especially for the structure of the conference. PT, that is called the plenary talk. They had attended, what is that, allotted the time 30 plus 2 minutes. 30 minutes for delivery and plus 2 minutes for discussion. There were 4 talks about PT, that is preliminary talk. Who are all the persons who have given the preliminary talk? Professor Manjula Sharma, Sydney, like what I have already mentioned. She is actually a director there, and I will also tell you about what she is doing in that Sydney University. Professor Arun Kumar Grover, former Vice Chancellor of Punjab University. Professor Chandralekha Singh, Pittsburgh University, that's what I told you. Right now she is in Pittsburgh University. Professor Dean Zolman, Kansas State University. In addition to that, we have MT, that is called medal talk. Actually, there were only 2 medal talks.
Yes, sorry,
and
sorry.
the time allotted for that is 25 minutes plus 2 minutes. 25 minutes for the delivery of the talk and 2 minutes for question and answer or clarification, whatever you call it. There were 2 talks. One is Professor Ponrat Watsna Kawavisik, Chiang Mai University, Thailand, and she was awarded the ICPE 23 medal 2023. Professor David Sokoloff, University of Oregon, USA, and she has been given the 2024 medal, ICPE medal. Then IT means invited talk, and the time allotment for the invited talk is 20 plus 2 minutes. There were 26 invited talks, and OP, oral presentation. Under the oral presentation, the time allotment was 8 minutes plus 2 minutes. So 8 minutes for delivery of the presentation and 2 minutes for clarification or question and answer. There were 36 oral presentations. In addition to that, we had workshops, and the time allotment for the workshops was 1 hour and 20 minutes. There were 11 workshops. Who are all participated in the workshops? I didn't tell you about the oral presentations and the invited talks because there were 36 oral presentations. Some of the oral presentations which are very, very important, which I am going to tell you. In addition to that, there were 26 IT invited talks. So anyway, coming to these workshops, 11 workshops were there, and the participants for these workshops were Vandana Luthra from Delhi, YK Vijay from Jaipur, and in fact this YK Vijay has supplied some instrument to our National Science Center at Hosur near Gauri Vidnur, HN Science Center. He has contributed some of the experiments, Y.K. Vijay. And Pragya Nopani, again from Delhi. Uttra Dorai from Tamil Nadu, OSKS Shastri, Himachal Pradesh. In fact, this OSKS Shastri was earlier in Satyasai College, Whitefield, and he has moved to Himachal University.
What were the
Then
themes of the workshop? Just one. What were the themes of the workshop? Can you mention?
ಹೇಳಿದೆ ಸರ್, ಹಿಂದೆ ಹೇಳಿದ್ನಲ್ಲ ವರ್ಕ್ಶಾಪ್ಸ್. ಓಕೆ ಸರ್, ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ. Vandana Luthra, she talked about the computational physics, and then Y.K. Vijay, hands-on experiments. Pragya Nopani, also about computational physics. Uttra Dorai Raju, she talked about the hands-on experiment. Of course, along with Uttra Dorai Rajan, even Dr. T.S. Natarajan from Tamil Nadu also joined. In fact, Uttra Dorai Rajan, along with Dr. T.S. Natarajan, they gave the demonstration 2 times. One first she gave, and next Natarajan I will also tell him. OSK Shastri about the computational simulation, and similarly even Jitin Bhagavati, he also gave on the same computational simulation. Jay Thakur, IIT Gandhinagar, and the hands-on experiment. Ankish Tirupati, Isar Pune, he had some experiments, especially with the help of the magnet and the coil. He was able to show both the AC as well as the DC. He had connected an LED. When once he turns in the clockwise direction, the LED was glowing continuously. And if he rotates that coil in the anti-clockwise direction, the LED was on and off. And on and off months, he was explaining about the AC. And if the LED glows continuously, it shows that it is DC. And Devdutt, Himachal Pradesh, he also talked about the hands-on experiment. Sapna Sharma, she talked about the quantum simulation experiments. In fact, 3 to 4 quantum simulation experiments, rest of them are hands-on experiments. And coming to the last one, that is Agastya International Foundation, and I was not able to attend to this Agastya International Foundation, and that was on the last day, that is on Saturday, and the time allotted for them was about 11:30 to 1. But anyway, I was about to move out, therefore I could not attend. But there, what I explained, rather what I got the information from Anantnag and Purushottam. In fact, from Agastya International Foundation, Anantnag and Purushottam. Purushottam came to Ballari also. She worked with MS Jogat to show some experiments in Ballari when we conducted a workshop. Of course, they are from Agastya Foundation, and they showed actually make your own lab. They are basically about the reflection, refraction, other things they have shown there. That is what I got the information from Purushottam. And there were 45 posters. In fact, when we look at the initial number of that number of posters, about some 151, but finally only 45 were presented. Out of 45, 23 from IIT Ropar PhD scholars. Why 23 means there are 23 faculty members in the physics department. I came to know that, in fact, in IIT Ropar, physics has given a lot of importance, and in fact, the director of the IIT Ropar is Rajiv Ahuja, a physics faculty, and naturally he is given very good importance for physics faculty and physics promotion. And then open workshops were also there, about 8 open workshops. Open workshop means no time was given to them. They were displayed in the corridor, and of course, the students were invited. Many high school students were invited. On each day, different schools were invited and they were visiting the poster presentations as well as open workshops and even some lectures also. And coming to this day one, that is on 16th Tuesday, it was inauguration. On the stage at the center, you can see that Manjula Sharma, she is the professor at the Sydney University. By the side of that, Ajay Kumar Sood is the principal scientific advisor to the Government of India, National Science Chair, and professor of physics at the IISc was the chief guest. And by the side of him, Anil Kumar Aizer Mohali, director. By the side of on my right, maybe for you it is left, it is Sundar Iyengar. This Sundar Iyengar actually studied from Sharda College, Mysore, and he was very happy to talk to us, both me and Jogad in Canada. On the end, right end for me is P.K. Aluwalia, the president of IAPT. And on my left, that is by the side of Manjula Sharma, Arun Grover. He was the Punjab vice chancellor of former vice chancellor of Punjab University. And then Mukesh is the acting HOD of IIT Ropar. And then on the other end with Baird, he is Aravind, Professor Aravind Aizer Mohali. In fact, I came to know that Aravind Mohali was the student of N. Mukunda of IISc. And of course, he is talking very nicely. And coming to the chief guest address, Professor Sood, he was the chief guest. Professor Sood underlined the pivotal role of physics education in strengthening India's scientific ecosystem and driving innovation. He emphasized the need for modern pedagogical approaches, particularly in areas such as participants. I should say that I should say that Professor Cowley also knows that in 2005, when the ICPE was held in Delhi, the number of participants from India and abroad were more compared to the number of participants in 2025 IIT Ropar. Maybe that, yes, but there also Professor Abdul Kalam was the chief guest. Maybe he asked the organizers to invite the students also. During the inaugural session, the students were present, but for other technical sessions like workshops or poster presentations or oral presentations, invited talks, I didn't find the students to take part in the conference in 2005 at Delhi. But here in this hall, the many number of high school PUC students compared to our participants. Anyway, he mentioned about climate model, how the climate change, and how actually in fact, he also made a mention about the climate model and climate studies, especially from IISc, CAOS, Center for Atmospheric and Oceanic Science. They are also taking part in understanding the climate change. MRI, we know. PET means actually the PET, the expansion of the, he also made a mention about the PET. That PET is uh, positron emission tomography. He also explained about that. Then optical sensors, semiconductors, nanomaterials, and he especially mentioned about the Higgs boson and how actually the research is going on. And many of our Indian scientists are working in Higgs boson, rather in CERN. In addition to that, our nation is contributing a lot, especially at the detector CMOS and at last he mentioned about in brief about what they are doing at the CERN. And then superposition, entanglement, systematic thinking, analytic reasoning, critical evaluation, quantitative problem solving, conceptual clarity, And he also mentioned about Raman scattering and how he got the Nobel Prize, because our own Indian who has got the Nobel Prize in the year 1930. So that's how. Yeah, coming back to uh, the the chairperson of the IUPAP, that is Commission of Education C14, Manjula Sharma, Professor of Science Education, Director of the STEM, like what I have already mentioned, Science, Technology, Engineering, Mathematics, Teacher, Enrichment Academy. She talked about the development of physics measurements, confluence of social drivers, and education research on physics education and implication in the age of AI. Yeah, almost every speaker was talking, mentioning about AI and quantum technologies. She said India joined IUPAP in the year 1945, 48. Of course, she also made a mention that she is the director, I said that, director of the STEM Teacher Enrichment Academy. Under her regime or under her custody, about 50 schools, junior colleges also including 11th and 12th standard. She normally calls the teachers once in a month, and she discussed with them. That is what she mentioned that. And in fact, we have to interact with the teachers. Only then we will be able to understand what they are going to teach, whether they are able to do some experiments. And without the experiments, if we teach only the theory, it is of no use. This is what she has mentioned. But anyway, in addition to that, she talked a lot about the physics education. And coming to Professor David R. Sokoloff, Professor Emeritus, University of Oregon, USA, and former President, American Association of Physics, was awarded IUPAP 2024 medal virtually. She was not here in the conference, but of course, it was the medal was given to him by the chief guest Ajay Kumar Sood virtually. In addition to that, Professor Konrad Wharton Kazivic, of course, I am not able to pronounce it properly, Chiang Mai University, Thailand, awarded the IUPAP 2023 medal. Of course, Professor Anil Kumar Tripathi, director of Iser Mohali, he, in addition to explaining all those things, he said that in their Iser Mohali, uh, actually, the scientists have trained the astronomy Olympiad student in the year 2004, and they got 5 gold medals. In fact, he was telling that our astronomy group in our institution, that Iser Mohali, is very good, and that is how they were able to get the 5 gold medals. And coming to Professor Mukesh Kumar, acting HOD of physics, that short person on the stage which I showed there, he is the acting HOD of physics, IIT Ropar, said that the Department of Physics is undertaking research in various fields, including quantum optics and nonlinear phenomena. He mentioned that 23 faculty members are there. I said in the beginning, the director of the IIT Ropar, Raju Ahuja, in fact, he is giving more importance to physics. And I think I came to know that good research is going on in IIT Ropar, especially in physics, and that too on quantum optics and nonlinear phenomena. Professor Arun Kumar Grover, former Vice Chancellor of Punjab University, Professor Sudarshan Iyengar, HOD, CSE, Computer Science Engineering. That's what I mentioned in the beginning itself. Sudarshan Iyengar, HOD of Computer Science and Engineering. He studied from Sharda Vilas College, Mysore, and that's why I said that in the beginning. He was very much happy to talk to us in Kannada. IIT, Professor P.K. Aluwalia, you know that he is the president of IAPT. They were all on the stage and they also spoke in brief. Professor Aravind, co-chair of the conference, he welcomed and he also proposed the vote of thanks. In fact, actually, Professor Raju Ahuja was supposed to be there on the chair. He had some, I think, urgent work, and that is why he was not there on the stage. And Professor, of course, Aravind, he took both the responsibility of welcoming the guest and also he proposed the vote of thanks. And in the afternoon, Professor Paula Hiron, she was actually the ICPE medal during 2021. University of Washington chaired the session, and Pornot Watana Kasivik, Chiang Mai University, spoke about developing an AI ethics aware chatbot to support physics students' research writing. She also talked about navigating the epistemological automation, augmentation, inclusion, and innovation. Yes. Coming to Professor Bhas Bapat Aizer Pune mentioned that enhancing undergraduate teaching a different look at experiments. In fact, he was telling that we are giving more importance to theory rather than the lab work. And that is why when they come for the research on experimental background, they were not able to do initially. And even from the basic, we have to teach them. And that is why if they are given sufficient encouragement at the lab, in addition to the theory, then there will be no problem for them to take up the experimental research. This is what he mentioned, and lab session has to be given more important than theory. After these talks, there were parallel sessions, workshops in two different small auditoriums. What I noticed there, of course, we struggled a lot to conduct some talks, but there are number of small auditoriums as well as big auditorium. That is why I could say that IIT Ropar especially is having a very good infrastructure for conducting the conferences, that too an international conference. Of course, for conducting an international conference in IIT Ropar is not a difficult task because they have got sufficient infrastructure. In fact, here we are finding it difficult to arrange for the stands for poster presentations. There they had number of stands for the poster presentation. And of course, like what I mentioned in the beginning for the workshops, that means two workshops, parallel workshops were going in two different small auditoriums. And similarly, the invited talks and the oral talks were being in other two different small auditoriums. Of course, on the first day itself, the poster presentation was given, and in addition to that, the open workshops. I said that about 8 open workshops were there, and in fact, there was a big hall, and in the big hall, the poster presentation as well as the open workshops were arranged. I presented a poster on a revisit to ferroelectric to paraelectric, that is transition temperature. In fact, this is not a new experiment, it is an old experiment only, but the experimental setup is new. And the experimental setup means I have done actually I have calculated the dielectric constant of ferroelectric material using the operators. And that operators, of course, when I was in Indian Academy Degree College, I got the ready-made experimental setup. I remember it was about 45 to 50,000 rupees because that is a setup where we have the box, and inside the box we have the capacitance meter and even the digital thermometer. In addition to that, we have a furnace. But here, in fact, this furnace, in the sense, it is not a furnace as such. In fact, it is made by um, Anil Kumar and group, and that is Kamaljeet instrumentation unit. And here you can see that we have on the top copper disc, and the bottom again the copper disc. The top one is capable of moving up and down, and the bottom one is fixed. Of course, there are two holes provided to this lower copper disc. In addition to that, that copper disc is actually surrounded by insulated one. And on one side, we have a soldering gun, and that soldering gun is used to heat the copper disc at the lower one. And on the other side, we have a thermal that is sensor, and that sensor is attached to thermal digital meter. And here we have a capacitance meter. So capacitance meter, digital thermometer, and then the soldering gun, they are all, of course, the entire thing will not be about some 1,500 rupees. So rather, this is coming under the low cost, and that is why I have presented this and as like a low cost experiment. In fact, in the physics outreach program, they also made a mention about the low cost equipment. Under the low cost equipment only, I presented this. And in fact, this was appreciated even by Professor H.C. Verma. And you can see in this picture, Professor H.C. Verma is there. Professor Jogad is also there in addition to me. Of course, I didn't get a very good what is that called? I took the sheets in bond size and then I displayed there on my right. It is visible. Maybe for you, it is on your left. So we are there, Professor Jogad, Professor H.C. Verma, and myself. And that's what I mentioned in brief about what the instrument. Even though, of course, the graphs, then tabular column, everything is displayed there. I didn't want to show all those things here. I just made a mention that a poster presentation was done for showing that ferroelectric to paraelectric. And of course, Professor H.C. Verma appreciated that. He took the address that he can also go for a small setup like this for especially finding out the dielectric constant and also to find out. But one thing which I noticed in this instrument, actually the critical temperature for ferroelectric to paraelectric is about 120 degrees Celsius. But here we are in the same students only have taken the readings. I was only just taking care of that. And we have got about 94.5 degrees Celsius. That means there is a difference between the actual operators which the company has made and the one which we are using here. Of course, about some 20 degrees Celsius difference is there between the standard value of the critical transition temperature to the one which we have found out here. And even Professor Jogad also presented a poster on quantum materials, quantum computer technology, and communication. Of course, the one lady who is there is Pratibha Jali, and Pratibha Jali actually conducted the ICPE in Delhi 2005. She was all in all, especially in conducting the ICPE 2005 at Delhi. I am there, and Professor Jogad. It is actually the Jogad poster. And coming to this day two, so under yes, in the second day, that second day was on Wednesday. There was virtual medal talk by David Sokolov. That's what I mentioned already. He was given the medal 2024 and University of Oregon, USK. He talked about force and motion. In fact, he showed some cars. One car is moving slowly, other one is moving fast, and he was explaining how actually one is moving with uniform speed and another with the acceleration, something like that. He was able to explain with the help of the cars. That's why I have mentioned here live examples showing cars moving with different speeds. Like that he mentioned, and I don't want to give more on those things. He expresses that making physics learning around the world more active. That means learning physics is very, very important, and we have to see that many should take part in understanding physics. And physics education research and the development of active learning strategies should be enhanced. Of course, everybody is saying that we have to uh, encourage physics learning by many students, but we don't know how many will finally take it up. Professor Paul Heron, University of Washington, and she spoke about the evolving relationship among theory, experiment, and teaching practice in PER, that is physics education research, as foundation for improving physics concept. Of course, everybody was of the opinion that if we improve the physics education research, naturally the physics experimental and theory background improve. So, Shika, there are 23 Anveshika groups demonstrated, giving us about 20 experiments they have demonstrated. There was a group of about 10 from each Anveshika, and some only few experiments I was interested in giving to you. One is light and heavy objects rotated over a stick. That means actually one small iron rod, iron strip, and another side one big iron. They were actually putting on the stick and showing that they were balanced, and that is why it is basically with the help of the torque. An iron rod, this is what I think we can also show it to our students when we go to, especially the high school students. In fact, they had taken an apple and then made a hole in an apple, and an iron rod was passed through the hole in the apple. And when once the iron rod is sufficiently big one, and when the iron body
Sound. Don't move too much. ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಮೂವ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಡಿ, ಒಂದೇ ಕಡೆ ಇದ್ಬಿಡಿ. You will get the sound.
Network problem is there.
ಏನಾಗಿದೆ, ನೆಟ್ವರ್ಕ್? I don't know. He has to ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಫೋನ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದಲ್ಲ, ನಡೆಸಿ. ಸಡನ್ ಇದಾಯ್ತಾ?
the help of the rotating chair. How actually when the dumbbells are brought towards their body, how the chair is moved.
ನಾಗರಾಜ್ ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ 2 minutes ಒಂದು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ನೆಟ್ವರ್ಕ್ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಇತ್ತು. ಆಪಲ್ ಇಂದ ಮತ್ತೆ ವಾಪಸ್
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Yeah, straws attached on a cellophane braid. That means what we normally use to drink juice or anything with the straw, they had taken straws and then they attached it to a cellophane tape, and showing that with the help of that, some about I think about 5 to 6 meter length was there, and they were showing the
your
notes
screen
and the
is not
angles
shared.
when they are.
ಕಾಣಿಸ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ ನಿಮ್ದು.
Your presentation is not shared.
Sir, any
ಸ್ಲೈಡ್ ಕಾಣಿಸ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಸ್ಲೈಡ್.
sir, any confusion?
ಇಲ್ಲ, ಸ್ಲೈಡ್ ಕಾಣಿಸ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಸ್ಲೈಡ್ಸ್.
File ಕಾಣಿಸ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ವಾ?
ಮತ್ತೆ ಇದು ನಿಮ್ದು
ಈಗ ಸರ್
ಇಲ್ಲ
ಸ್ಲೈಡ್ ಇಲ್ಲ.
ಮತ್ತೆ ಇನ್ನೊಂದ್ಸಲ
slide ಇಲ್ಲ sir?
ಪವರ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಮೋಡ್ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕು. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಪವರ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಕಾಣಿಸ್ತಿಲ್ಲ. ನೀವು ಇದು ಸ್ಲೈಡ್
ಶೇರ್ ಮಾಡಿ.
ಇಲ್ಲ, ನಂದು ಕಾಣಿಸ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ವಾ?
ಇಲ್ಲ
ನೀವು ಕಾಣಿಸ್ತೀರಾ? ಇದು ಕಾಣಿಸ್ತಿಲ್ಲ, ಸ್ಲೈಡ್ ಇಲ್ಲ.
ಸ್ಲೈಡ್ ಇಲ್ವಾ?
ಫೈಲ್ ಶೇರ್
ಮತ್ತೊಂದ್ಸರಿ ಶೇರ್ ಕ್ಲಿಕ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಸರ್.
ಇನ್ನೊಂದ್ಸಲ ಶೇರ್ ಮಾಡಿ. ಅದೇ ಇದು ಶೇರಿಂಗ್ ಹೋಗ್ಬಿಡ್ತಾನೆ, ಫೈಲ್ ಶೇರಿಂಗ್.
ಓ, ಶೇರಿಂಗ್ ಹೋಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ಯಾ? ಓಕೆ.
ನೆಟ್ವರ್ಕ್ ಸ್ಲೋ ಇದ್ದಾಗ ಕಾಣುತ್ತೆ, ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್. ಮತ್ತೆ ಇನ್ನೊಂದ್ಸಲ ಶೇರ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಫೈಲ್.
ಹೌದಾ ಸರ್?
ಪವರ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಇಂದ ಮತ್ತೆ ಶೇರ್. ಪವರ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಓಪನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ದೆನ್ ಯು ಕ್ಲಿಕ್ ಆನ್ ದಟ್, ಅವಾಗ ಶೇರ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ.
ಓಕೆ ಸರ್, ಓಕೆ ಓಕೆ.
Slides ಕಾಣಿಸ್ತಾ
ಸ್ಲೈಡ್ಸ್ ಬಂದೆ ಸರ್.
ನೆಟ್ವರ್ಕ್ ಸ್ಲೋ ಇರ್ಬೇಕು.
ಏನು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಕ್ಲೋಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಆಮೇಲೆ ಓಪನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಲಾ?
ಇನ್ನೊಂದ್ಸಲ ಜಾಯಿನ್ ಆಗಿ. ಇವ್ರು ಬಂದ್ರ ಪ್ರೊಫೆಸರ್ ಸೋಮಶೇಖರ್ ಬಂದ್ರ ನೋಡಿ ಇವಾಗ. ಏನ್ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಡೇಟಾ ಬಂದ್ರ?
ಮ್ಯೂಟ್ ಆಗಿದೆ ಸರ್. ಪ್ರೊಫೆಸರ್ ಸೋಮಶೇಖರ್ದು.
ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಬಿಡಿ ಪರವಾಗಿಲ್ಲ.
ನಮ್ಗೆ ಯಾಕೋ ಇನ್ನೂ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಇತ್ತು.
ನಿಮ್ದು
ಕ್ಲೋಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಓಪನ್ ಮಾಡಿ.
ಇನ್ನೊಂದ್ಸಲ ಶೇರ್
ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ ಸರ್. ಅದೇ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ.
ಸ್ಲೈಡ್ಸ್ ಶೇರ್ ಮಾಡ್ರಿ ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಇದು ಕೂತಿರಲ್ಲ
ಮಾಡ್ತಾ
ಆಯ್ತು.
ಇನ್ನೊಂದ್ಸಲ ಡೆಸ್ಕ್ಟಾಪ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಓಪನ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಅದು ಪವರ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಅದನ್ನು ಶೇರ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಮತ್ತೆ.
ಬಂದೆ ಸರ್, ಅದೇ ವಾಪಸ್ ಹೋದೆ. ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ.
ಫೈಲ್ ಸಡನ್ನಾಗಿ ಆಫ್ ಆಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು.
ಬಂದಿದೆ ಈ ಕಡೆ.
ಫೈಲ್ ಶೇರಿಂಗ್ ಹೋಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದೆ.
ಹೌದು ಸರ್, ಡೌನ್ಲೋಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬೇಕು.
ಅಲ್ಲ ಪವರ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಓಪನ್
ಆಗಿದೆ. ಶೇರ್ದು ಫೈಲ್ ಶೇರ್ ಮಾಡೋದು
ಫೈಲ್ ಶೇರಿಂಗ್ ಇಸ್ ರಿಕ್ವೈರ್ಡ್ ಅಗೇನ್.
ಅದೇ ಯಾಕದು ಪುನಃ ಜಾಯಿನ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ ಸರ್.
ಸಡನ್ನಾಗಿ ನಿಮ್ದು ನೆಟ್ವರ್ಕ್ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್.
ಡೌನ್ಲೋಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬೇಕಾ? ಸ್ಲೋ ಇದೆ. ಜಾಯಿನ್ ಏನು ಹತ್ರ ಇತ್ತು.
ಅಪ್ಡೇಟ್
ಜಾಯಿನ್ ಸ್ಟಾಪ್ ಇದೆ. ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡೋದು ಹಾಕ್ಲಾ? ಈ ನಾಗರಾಜ್ ಹಾಕ್ಬೇಕು. ಜಾಯಿನ್. ಈಗ ಡಿಸೇಬಲ್ಡ್ ಶೇರ್
ಹೋಸ್ಟ್ ಡಿಸೇಬಲ್ಡ್ ಅಂತ ಬರ್ತದೆ. ಅದೇ ಅವ್ರು ಯಾರು ಹೋಸ್ಟ್ ಯಾರು
ಸರ್? ನೀವೇನು ಡಿಸೇಬಲ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀರಾ?
ಇಲ್ಲ ಇಲ್ವಲ್ಲ. ನಾಗರಾಜು ಓಕೆ.
ಡಿಸೇಬಲ್ಡ್ ಅಂತ
ಹೋಸ್ಟ್ ಡಿಸೇಬಲ್ಡ್ ಅಂತ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಅಟೆಂಡೆಡ್ ಹೋಸ್ಟ್ ಡಿಸೇಬಲ್ಡ್ ಅಂತ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದೆ.
ಕೋ ಹೋಸ್ಟ್ the host ಅಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ಲೆಟ್ಸ್ ಸಿ ಮೋರ್. ಎಲ್ಲಿದು ಇದು ಕೋಸ್ಟ್ ಮೋರ್ ಮಲ್ಟಿ ಮೀಡಿಯಾ do this.
ಸರ್ co-host ಮಾಡ್ದೇನೆ ಸರ್.
co-host correct. Okay, ಮಾಡಬಹುದು.
ಆಯ್ತು, ಇವಾಗ ಆಗಿದೆ ಸರ್.
co-host ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ correct. Now you can share. ನೀವು co-host ಆದ್ರೆ ಮಾತ್ರ ಶೇರ್ ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ. ಇವಾಗ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು.
ಸರಿ ಸರ್, ಸರಿ. ಎಂಟೈರ್ ಸ್ಕ್ರೀನ್ ಆಯ್ತಲ್ವಾ?
ಶೇರ್
ಸ್ಕ್ರೀನ್ ಬೇಕಾಗಿಲ್ಲ.
ಮತ್ತೆ ಇದು ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಲ್ಲ,
ಕನೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬೇಕು.
ಕನೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬೇಕು ಸರ್.
ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಮಾತ್ರ ಓಪನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಶೇರ್ ಮಾಡಿ.
ಇದು ಇಲ್ಲಿದೆ.
ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಪವರ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಫೈಲ್.
ಸರಿ ಸರ್. ಮತ್ತೆ ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕಾ?
ಮತ್ತೆ ಲಾಗಿನ್ ಆಗ್ಬೇಕಾ?
ಇಲ್ಲ ಇಲ್ಲ ಇಲ್ಲ.
ಡಬಲ್ ಕ್ಲಿಕ್ ಆನ್ ದ ಫೈಲ್ ಟು ಬಿ ಶೇರ್ಡ್. ಬರ್ತಿಲ್ವಲ್ಲ. ಫೈಲ್ ಓಪನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡ್ಬಿಡಿ ಡೆಸ್ಕ್ಟಾಪ್ ಮೇಲೆ, ದೆನ್ ಯು ಟ್ರೈ ಟು ಶೇರ್ ದಟ್, ಇಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಈಸಿಯರ್. ಎಂಟೈರ್ ಸ್ಕ್ರೀನ್ ಆಯ್ತು ಓಪನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ.
ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ ಸರ್ ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ.
ಬಂದಿದೆ, ಜಾಯ್ನ್ ಆಗಿದೆ.
ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು
ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು.
ಶಿವಪ್ರಕಾಶ್.
ನೈಸ್ ಟು ಸಿ PN ಸರ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಜೋಗ ಸರ್. ನೈಸ್ ಟು ಸಿ
ಯಂಗ್ಸ್ಟರ್ಸ್ ಬರ್ಬೇಕಾಗಿದೆ, ಅವ್ರು ಬರ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಏನ್ ಮಾಡೋದು, ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಗಿದಾರೋ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ಯಂಗ್ಸ್ಟರ್ಸ್.
ಯಂಗ್ಸ್ಟರ್ಸ್ ಸರ್.
ಅವ್ರು ಕಲಿಬೇಕಾಗಿರೋದು ಹೆಚ್ಚಿಗೆ.
ದೊಡ್ಡ ಮನಿ ಸರ್ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ ಸರ್. ದೊಡ್ಡ ಮನಿ ಸರ್ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ, ಮ್ಯೂಟ್ ಆಗಿದ್ದಾರೆ.
ಮತ್ತೆ ಕಟ್ ಆಗ್ಬಿಟ್ರೆ ಬಹಳ ಕಷ್ಟ ಇದೆ. ಏನ್ ಅಷ್ಟು
ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿತ್ತು ಸರ್ ಅವ್ರದ್ದು. ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಒಂದ್ ಯಾವ್ದೋ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆರಿಮೆಂಟ್ ಹೇಳೋ ಟೈಮಲ್ಲೇ ಕಟ್ ಆಗ್ಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ. ಆಪಲ್ ಇಸ್ ಮೂವಿಂಗ್ ಅಗೇನ್ಸ್ಟ್ ದ ಗ್ರಾವಿಟಿ ಅಂದ್ಬಿಟ್ರಲ್ಲ. ಒಂದು ನೇಲ್ ನ ನೀವು ಇದ್ರ ಮೇಲೆ ಆಪಲ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಹಿಂಗ್ ಹೊಡಿತಾ ಇದ್ರೆ ಆಪಲ್ ವಿಲ್ ಮೂವ್ ಅಗೇನ್ಸ್ಟ್ ದ ಗ್ರಾವಿಟಿ ಅಂದ್ರು ಅಷ್ಟಲ್ಲೇ ಕಟ್ ಆಗ್ಬಿಡ್ತು. ಅದೇನೋ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರೆ ಪಾಪ ಇಂಟ್ರೆಸ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ಇತ್ತು ಅದು. ನಾನು ಕೇಳಿಸ್ಕೊಂತ ಇದ್ದೆ, ಕಟ್ ಆಗ್ಬಿಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೆ. ಏನೋ ಒಂದು ಇಂಟ್ರೆಸ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆರಿಮೆಂಟ್, ಮ್ಯಾಜಿಕ್ ಟೈಪ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆರಿಮೆಂಟ್ ಇತ್ತು.
ಶಿವಪ್ರಕಾಶ್ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ
ಸರ್. ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ ಸರ್. ನೋಡಿ
ಆ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆರಿಮೆಂಟ್ ತುಂಬಾ ಹಳೇದದು, 8-10 ವರ್ಷದ ಹಳೇದ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆರಿಮೆಂಟ್ ಅದು.
ಹೌದಾ ಸರ್?
ಹೌದೌದು, ಎಲ್ಲ ಕಡೆ ತೋರಿಸ್ತಾರೆ ಅದನ್ನ.
ಇದು ಕಾಲೇಜ್ಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಎಕ್ಸಿಬಿಷನ್ ಅಂತ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ
ಸುಮಾರು ಕಡೆ ತೋರಿಸ್ತಾರೆ.
ಹೌದಾ ಸರ್?
ನೀವು ಆ ಮೆಟಲ್ ನೋಡಿದ್ರೆ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮೇಲ್ಗಡೆ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಹಂಗೆ.
ಶಿವಪ್ರಕಾಶ್ ಎಲ್ಲಿ ವರ್ಕ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಾ
ಸರ್? ನಾನು ಗವರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಇಯರ್ ಕಾಲೇಜ್ ಮಾಗಡಿ ಸರ್.
ಮೆಂಬರ್ ಆಗಿದೆ.
ಅದೇ ಗೊತ್ತಾಯ್ತು.
ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ ಎಕ್ಸಿಬಿಷನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಲ್ಲ ಸರ್, ಸೈನ್ಸ್ ಎಕ್ಸಿಬಿಷನ್. ಅಂತ ಟೈಮಲ್ಲಿ ಈ ತರದ್ದು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಫಿಸಿಕ್ಸ್ ವಿತ್ ಮ್ಯಾಜಿಕ್ ಟೈಪ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆರಿಮೆಂಟ್ ಇದ್ರೆ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿರುತ್ತೆ. ಫಿಸಿಕ್ಸ್ ಬ್ಯಾಕ್ ಗ್ರೌಂಡ್ ನೋಡಿದವ್ರಿಗೆ, ಫಿಸಿಕ್ಸ್ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲದವ್ರಿಗೆ ಸಮಥಿಂಗ್ ಲುಕ್ಸ್ ಲೈಕ್ ಮ್ಯಾಜಿಕ್ ಅನ್ಸ್ಬೇಕು. ಆ ತರದ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆರಿಮೆಂಟ್ಗಳು ತುಂಬಾ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿರುತ್ತೆ.
ಸ್ಟ್ರೆಂತ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಹೇಗಿದೆ ಗವರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಕಾಲೇಜಲ್ಲಿ?
ಸ್ಟ್ರೆಂತ್ ಸೈನ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಸರ್, ಬೇರೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ಕಾಮರ್ಸ್ ಫುಲ್ ತುಂಬ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಸೈನ್ಸ್ಗೆಲ್ಲ ಒಂದು 25 to 30 ಈ ನೀಟ್ ಸೆಕ್ಷನ್.
ಅಲ್ಲ, ಎವ್ರಿ ಇಯರ್ ಅಷ್ಟಿರ್ತಾರ?
ಅಷ್ಟು ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಇಯರ್ ಒಂದು 20-25 ಇದಾರೆ, ಫೈನಲ್ ಇಯರ್ ಒಂದು 30 ಇದಾರೆ.
ಅಲ್ಲ, ಸೈನ್ಸ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಫಿಸಿಕ್ಸ್ ಅಥವಾ ಎಲ್ಲ ಸೈನ್ಸ್ ಸೇರಿ ಸರ್?
ಎಲ್ಲ ಸೈನ್ಸ್, ಫಿಸಿಕ್ಸ್, ಕೆಮಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿ, ಮ್ಯಾಥಮೆಟಿಕ್ಸ್. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಲೈಕ್ ಮಾಡೆಲ್ಸ್ ಗಳು ಆ ತರದೆಲ್ಲ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಯೂಶುವಲಿ February 28 ಬರುತ್ತಲ್ಲ,
ಸೈನ್ಸ್ ಡೇ,
ನ್ಯಾಷನಲ್ ಸೈನ್ಸ್ ಡೇ ದಿನ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. ಅವಾಗ ಈ ತರದ್ ಯೂಟ್ಯೂಬ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆರಿಮೆಂಟ್ ಗಳು ಆ ತರದ್ ಮಾಡಿ, ಫನ್ನಿ ಇರ್ಬೇಕು, ಲುಕ್ಸ್ ಲೈಕ್ ಫನ್ನಿ, ಸಮಥಿಂಗ್ ಮ್ಯಾಜಿಕ್ ಟೈಪ್ ಕಾಣಿಸ್ಬೇಕು ನೋಡೋರಿಗೆ. ದೇರ್ ಶುಡ್ ಬಿ ಸಮ್ ಫಿಸಿಕ್ಸ್ ಕಾನ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ಬಿಹೈಂಡ್ ಈಚ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆರಿಮೆಂಟ್ ಅನ್ನೋ ತರ ಹೇಳಿರುತ್ತೆ ಹುಡುಗರಿಗೆ. ಸೊ ಚಿಕ್ಕದಾದ್ರೂ ಪರವಾಗಿಲ್ಲ, ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆರಿಮೆಂಟ್ ಫನ್ನಿ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ ಎಷ್ಟೊತ್ತಲ್ಲ, ಆ ತರದ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ.
ಮತ್ತೆ ಡಿಸೇಬಲ್ಡ್ ಶೇರ್ ಅಂತ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಕೋಸ್ಟ್ ಡಿಸೇಬಲ್ಡ್ ಅಟೆಂಡಿ ಸ್ಕ್ರೀನ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ
ಸರ್. ಈಗ ಶೇರ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಸರ್, ಈಗ ಶೇರ್
ಮಾಡ್ಲಾ? ಓಕೆ ಸರ್. ಶೇರ್ ಮತ್ತೆ ಎಂಟೈರ್ ಸ್ಕ್ರೀನ್
ಓಪನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಅದನ್ನ ಮಾತ್ರ ಮಾಡಿ. ಓಪನ್ ದ ಪವರ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್.
ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದೆ ಸರ್, ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದೆ.
ಸೆಲೆಕ್ಟೆಡ್ ಫೈಲ್ ಮಾಡಿ, ಪವರ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಫೈಲ್ ಡಬಲ್ ಕ್ಲಿಕ್ ಮಾಡಿ.
ಏನಾದ್ರೂ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ಅರ್ಜೆಂಟ್ ಓಪನ್ ಮಾಡಕ್ಕಾಗುತ್ತಾ? ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ಪೊಲೀಸ್
ಏನೇನು ನೋಡಿದ್ರೆ ಕೆಲಸ ಇದೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ.
Open the file, double click on that PowerPoint file.
ಸರಿ.
Double click the file you want to share. ಅದಿದೆಯಲ್ಲ ಮೈ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೀರಿಯನ್ಸಸ್ ICPE ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಡಬಲ್ ಕ್ಲಿಕ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಸ್ಲೋ ಅದೇ ಜಾಯಿನ್ ಆಗ ಈಗ ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗೋದು ಬಹಳ ಹೋಗ್ಬಿಡಿ ಇದು ಮಾಡ್ಬಿಡಿ ಗೋ ಫಾರ್ ಡಿಸ್ಕಷನ್ ಟೈಮ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಬಂತು ಬಹಳ ಸ್ಲೋ ಇದಾವೆ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗ್ತದೆ ವೆರಿ ವೆರಿ ಸ್ಲೋ
ಮೊಬೈಲ್ ಡೇಟಾ ತಗೊಂಡಿದ್ರೆ ಡೇಟಾ ಕಂಪ್ಲೀಟ್ ಆಗಿರೋದಾಗಲಿ
DSL ಕನೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಅಂತ
ಏನ್ ದೊಡ್ಡ ಮಂದಿ ಸಾಹೇಬ್ರ ವಿಜಯ ಕುಮಾರ್ ಅವರ
ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ ಸರ್ ಜೋಗತ್ ಸರ್, ನಾನು ರೇವಣಸಿದ್ದಪ್ಪ ನೆನಪಿದ್ದೇನೆ ಸರ್. ಜೋಗತ್ ಸರ್
ಮ್ಯೂಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು
ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ. ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ ಸರ್.
ಮ್ಯೂಟ್ ಆಗಿದೆ ಸರ್.
ಸ್ಯಾಂಪಲ್ ತಯಾರು ಮಾಡಿದ್ ನಂಬಲ್ಲೇ ಕಂಡಕ್ಟಿವಿಟಿ ಮೆಜರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ವಿ, ಒಂದ್ ಪೇಪರ್ ಪಬ್ಲಿಷ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ವಿ.
ಹೌದು ಹೌದು ಸರ್, ಹೌದು ಹೌದು ಹೌದು.
ಮತ್ತ ಆಮೇಲೆ ನೀವು ಈಗ PS ನಲ್ಲಿದ್ರಿ?
PS ಯೂನಿವರ್ಸಿಟಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ ಸರ್. ಆರಾಮಿದ್ದೀರಿ ಸರ್?
ಆರಾಮಿದ್ದೆ ನೋಡ್ರಿ. ಏನ್ ಹಂಗೆ ವಯಸ್ಸಾಯ್ತಲ್ಲ, ನಮ್ದು 71 ಆಯ್ತು.
ಹೌದು ಹೌದು ಸರ್. ರಶ್ಮಿ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದಾರೆ ಸರ್ ಈಗ?
ರಶ್ಮಿ ಕೆಲವು ದಿವಸ ವರ್ಕ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು ಗೌರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಕಾಲೇಜ್.
ಓ ವೆರಿ ಗುಡ್ ಸರ್, ವೆರಿ ಗುಡ್.
ಇಲ್ಲ ಸತ್ಯಸಾಯಿ ಯೂನಿವರ್ಸಿಟಿಯಾಗ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ದಿವಸ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು. ಈಗೆಲ್ಲ ಅವರು ಅಮೇರಿಕ ಗಂಡನ್ ಸಂಗಟ ಹೋದ್ರು ನೌಕರಿ ಬಿಟ್ಟು. ಈಗ ಬಂದಾರ, ಪುಣಾದಾಗ ಟ್ರೈ ಮಾಡಕತ್ತಾಳ. ಸಿಮೆಂಟ್ನಾಗ ಇದ್ರು ಕೆಲವು ದಿವಸ ರಿಸರ್ಚ್ ಸೈಂಟಿಸ್ಟ್ ಅಂತ.
ಓ ವೆರಿ ಗುಡ್ ಸರ್, ವೆರಿ ಗುಡ್.
ಇಲ್ಲ ಈಗೇನಿಲ್ಲ, ಈಗ ಮಕ್ಕಳಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ